Okay, so in the last video, we did this little change, basically the refactoring of replace temp with query, which is we replaced the this amount variable with each get charge in two places and got rid of that variable. I forgot to run the test, so let me just do that real quick. Make sure everything's still working. Okay, it is. All 4 tests passed. So the next thing, and again, I'm following along in the Martin Fowler's book, and I'm on page 22 now. The next thing is extracting the bit about calculating the frequent renter points. Okay, so we want to extract this bit right here because again that's kind of a logical chunk, and one thing that gives you the hint is kind of there's already this comment right here, add frequent renter points, and so this section all kind of does that one thing, and let's see. Frequent renter points isn't mentioned anyplace else inside this block. It's just we need to get what the points are so we can add it in at the end here. So let's extract this. Let's see, I'm going to go into refactor, and I am going to put introduce method again. Okay. And let's call it get frequent renter points. Again, if it's going to stay in the customer class and it's just a helper function used for the customer class, we leave it private. And what gets done for us automatically, you see, is this frequent renter points, get frequent renter points, and it uses the, it creates these parameters based on, what are the local variables that are used in that block. So actually, again, this is a place where we don't really need, because frequent renter points get set to 0 up at the top. I'm just making sure that I'm not telling any lies here. Okay, what we want to do actually is we're setting it at 0 at the top. We want to keep incrementing frequent renter points. So really what we want to do at this point, because remember we kept adding and adding to our frequent renter points. So to keep that incrementing, what we could do is just have a plus equals here, and then have this method just return the frequent renter points calculated on this one rental. So I'm going to try, I haven't tried this before, but I want to see if I can change method parameters here. So right now I have these 2 parameters, and if I pick this one out, let's see if it'll let me get rid of that one. It says it's used within the method body. Do you really want to delete it? Well, I want to delete it as a parameter. I don't know. I'm going to just experiment and see if I say yes here, what happens. Access prior return type generate. I don't see anything for. Now see, it did change the method signature. That's the method signature I want. I don't see anything for adding another int in there or anything. Let's just see what happens when I refactor it. Okay, it did refactor it. It didn't create a new definition for a new local variable for it. So we can do that in here. Maybe just copy this whole thing here. Okay, so that'll work. But let's take a little bit of a closer look here at what this is saying. So basically, if we initialize frequent renter points to 0, and we say frequent renter points plus plus, then that's the same as just doing this and not doing that, right? So in other words, if we start at 0 and unconditionally add 1, we're going to have 1, right? And then here is where we conditionally add another 1. So basically, if we start at 1 and we add 1 here, that's basically the same as saying let's just return 2, right? Because it's 1 plus 1. And here, what we could do, since frequent renter points is 1, we could just say return 1. And now we don't even need this variable in here, do we? So that looks like that should work. And actually, the version that's in the book, and it's I guess this is just a matter of style, what you like. But the way that it's written in the book is this is written as an else. But effectively, that's the same thing. If you're returning inside of here, you're gonna, you would get the same return values. It's just a matter of style. Now, there's one more thing here. As with the amount for, you notice what we're doing here is working off of each, and we're not using any of the customer fields. We're not using name or rentals in here. So again, this is a good candidate for moving into rental, but we're going to have to make it a public method so we can call it from here. So let's go into rental, and let's stick in a public int get frequent renter points, and we're going to need the guts of this one. I'm going to copy it over to here. And you know, actually, well, I need to get rid of my each in both places. But actually, you know, before I go any farther, because eventually what I want to do is delegate over here and test. But even before I do that, I just want to make sure, because I did just pull out this get frequent renter points. I just want to make sure that this is doing the right thing. So right now I'm saying frequent renter points plus equal that. Let me just run my tests right now and make sure that everything is good. So you really want to run your tests like after every little change, because it'll save you a lot of grief in the long run. So now, basically that was testing this method, right? Because that's the one that we're using right now. But now we want to, instead of using this one, we want to use this guy in the rental class. So the method by the public method by the same name in the rental class. So let's go and notice that one didn't need any parameters because we're working with the specific rental that's being referenced here by each. Okay, So again, just like we did with amount for, we're going to delegate. We're going to say, we need to return that value. Return each get frequent renter points. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of this. I don't know if I mentioned this, but if you're in, oh yeah, if you're in NetBeans, it has a similar kind of thing. Greenfoot actually has a similar kind of thing in BlueJ. If you, I don't know exactly what the keys are on Windows, but on my Mac, if I hold down the Control key and press the space bar, I get all the methods that belong to the, that a rental knows how to do. So these are all the public methods for rental. So I'm going to just pick that one because that's the one that I want to use. And so now I'm just delegating to that to the rental get frequent renter points. So now I'm actually using this one in rental. So let's test that. And that looks good. And so now the last step, just like we did with the amount for the get charge thing, we can replace any calls to get frequent renter points. Let's see, I think that's all there is. There's this one right here. We can replace that with each dot get frequent renter points. And do I see any more get frequent renter points? No. So let me get rid of this method. Okay, so now the get frequent renter points has been moved all the way into the rental class, so it's not in this class anymore. And let's test that one. Okay, and that works. So see our statement method is getting shorter and shorter, which is what we're going for.